Hello, my friend. It's a Crypto Lunatic, live from the Lunar Café, bringing you hidden gems before they pop and simplifying the language of crypto for beginners to the place. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about Solidus AI Tech. I'm going to explain how I found it, and I'm going to have a little bit of a look into it. Now, these videos are really just to show you how to do your own research at a very base level and how easy that is to do. So this is just an exploration for me to show you what you need to do when people start shilling coins, just to make sure that you're not buying a load of junk. And there's plenty of junk in crypto, my friends, plenty of it. So with that all in mind, join me on this educational journey. So before we even start, this is where you should always start. Look at the Bitcoin spot ETF, exchange traded fund. This is the institutional money. Now, you can be sure when this is green that the price is going up of Bitcoin and the market follows. And when it's red, it's going down. And you'll see last week there was a bit of red, but you'll see today that we've started strong and almost $1 billion inflow into Bitcoin, almost $1 billion. So that is why the market's up. And this is a great indicator of where to start. Always check and see what the big boys are doing, because they will lead the market. And when the money stops going into it, you can be sure that we're going to be heading in the other direction. So it's a good place to start, and it looks positive. So I started here. I went on CoinMarketCap. What are the most viewed cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap? And right at the top is Solidus AI Tech. So for that reason alone, I've decided, okay, well, let's see why. Why is this the most viewed cryptocurrency on CoinMarketCap? And that is the only selection criteria that I've used today for this video. So let's go to CoinMarketCap and look at it. We see here, my friends, back in September 2023, that this started life at 2 cents. 2 cents, roughly where it is now, roughly, back then. And then we see it had this massive spike up to 33 cents. And you'll notice that there were all sorts of influencers shilling it at the time, as it usually is with these tiny little degen projects. And then, surprise, surprise, it plummeted back down. Plummeted, it did, as a lot of these little degen coins do. And here we see here, back in December when the market was up again, this was at 13 cents. And now, because we've had the retrace, it's come back down, and we're currently at 2 cents again. So this channel, for if you're new, is all about price entry points. It's not about what project we're talking about. It's when do you get in? Now, if you're going to get into a little degen coin like this, I would suggest that this is the sort of price you want to be looking at. You definitely don't want to be looking at it here. And if it ever gets to here, then get out. That would be my solid suggestion to you, my friends, because these little coins are super, super high risk. Let's look at it. It's got a market cap of under 50 million, 46.5, and its fully diluted market cap is 57 million. Now, this is actually pretty good from a tokenomics point of view. Now, I want to educate you about something. I want you to go back in time to here. Look, this is March 2024. Now, what I want to do is correlate price with vesting schedules. Now, if you're new to vesting, when early stage investors get in, they can't get their tokens. It's a controlled release of tokens over time. And this, my friend, is an unlock schedule. So let's go back to March. Look, we see here March 2024, when the price was high. When the price was high, and what we see is that only 33% of the tokens were unlocked then. And what we see is this punishing vesting schedule and early stage investors dumping on the market. Look, 5% unlocked here. Another massive unlock. Massive, massive unlocks. Now, these aren't small unlocks, and these are monthly. So every month, almost 5% of the tokens are getting released to investors who are taking profit, which is plummeting the price down. This is why it's happened. If you want to check a price action, look at vesting schedules. Now, what we see now is the really harsh vesting is over. And we're seeing that most of the tokens are unlocked, over 80%. So now the tokenomics are looking a lot healthier than they did back then. So you're not going to get these 5% unlocks every month. And this was why this project has been really seriously price suppressed. So it's important that we start there, because you've got to marry the vesting schedule with the price. And this is why we went from here to here. Profit taking, profit taking, profit taking, profit taking. Look, they couldn't wait. Couldn't wait to take profits. Could not wait to take profits and sent it right down to 2 cents. And that's where we're at now. So we talk about price entry point. This looks like a fair price to get in. We see it's not on any of the, we see it's on Binance Alpha, which gives it a little bit of an edge, but otherwise it's not on Coinbase. So there's potential there if it was to get listed on Coinbase, so that it could be a price pump, but that's not brilliant, but it's not bad either with the exchange listings. We go down, we see most of it's unlocked, tiny bit of unlock to come. And you can see here that the unlocks are less harsh. Remember, they were 5%. Look, they're going up barely 1% now. So it's a lot easier on the unlock schedule. But not only that, at this price, they're unlikely to be taking profits. So there's the first one. Now let's look at this. Solidus AI Tech is building one of the first Web3 AI infrastructure powered by state-of-the-art, eco-friendly, high-performance computing data center in Europe. So it's a data center for AI and Web3. Now, this, I believe, is a market that is ripe for disruption, that this is going to be the future. As we get more Web3 and crypto and AI projects, we're going to need data centers. So they're actually solving a problem within the ecosystem. So let's look at tokenomics. We go to Explorers, SolScan and BSC Scan. So firstly, let's go to BSC Scan. We see 55,000 holders. And we see a very high concentration in the top wallets. And they're not necessarily, that's an exchange. That's definitely an exchange. These are probably exchanges, but we don't know. They could be whales. Now, I generally don't like to see tokenomics like this with high percentage in single wallets. They could be exchanges. Without doing a deeper dive, I wouldn't know. And since I'm not invested in this, I'm not going to do a deeper dive. But that would definitely flag caution to me, as would this especially. But this is Radium, so this is an exchange. So the 39% there is an exchange. But here we see only 325 holders. So obviously the main launch was on BSC Scan, and there's not many people on Solana yet. But again, that's all on an exchange. So let's go to their social media posts. Now here we see almost 500,000 followers. Now, given that there was 58,000 people holding this token, that there's 500,000 followers, I'm starting to think, how did that happen? This seems falsely inflated to me. Now, it seems like there's good interaction on the social media page. There's clearly something going on here. There is clearly something going on. Over 1 billion traded. And just to go back a step, for a tiny little altcoin, what we're seeing is big volume here. That's down 89%, and that's almost the market cap. 38 million in volume, 46 million market cap. Something's happening here, but it seems a little bit suspicious that there's that much volume and the price hasn't pumped. Something is not adding up here. But that's an active social media page. Here's their website. Looks a little bit Terminator-like to me, folks. You never know. But I mean, it looks okay. Effortless on-demand computing. So it's an AI compute marketplace. And you can deploy AI agents. Look at that. So it does seem a little bit futuristic. There's clearly something going on. Now, here's the usual prompts that I give to Claude, which is a very deep dive. Now, this is an opportunity. If you want to pause it and read through, I'm only going to give you little snippets for this because there's a lot of data on this. But really, it's only the percentage scores that's interesting to you. And this does not give it a brilliantly high. That's about average. 58, sort of round about the 60 mark would be about an average overall project score. Investor confidence, 52, which is below average. So there you go. There's the things. Now, if you want to read through this, you're very, very welcome. But I'll read you the executive summary. So Solidus AI Tech is building high-performance computing data centers and AI infrastructure, positioning itself at the intersection of Web3 and AI compute. Now, this is a good niche, and it's certainly the future, I believe. Founded by Paul Fari and Adrian Stoiker in 2021, the company has constructed 8,000 plus square foot tier 3 compliant data center in Romania and recently assessed an elite C-suite from Goldman Sachs, Deloitte, Kareem, Cisco, and Dell, with partnerships including Fetch AI and a 1 million compute credits grant program. AITECH aims to democratize access to AI infrastructure. However, the token faces typical early stage challenges, including unclear revenue models, limited operational transparency, and intense competition in the crowded AI and crypto space. So you can pause this and read through should you wish. There's all sorts of information on this prompt that tells you about exchange listings. It really is a deep diver of a prompt. But really, I just want to get you to the percentages and the critical information. Now, some could argue that all of this is critical information. But let's look at the competitive analysis. So it's up against Render, Akash, IONET, Jensen, and AITECH is here. So some of these are very mature markets. Akash and Render are much more mature. And you've got IONET, which I do have a review on my channel, which is growing, and Jensen, which I don't know anything about. So you can look through that. Advantages here, it's got an elite team. Now, this is good. Hired C-suite from Goldman Sachs, Deloitte, Dell. Having a strong team is a big thing. So that's a good, positive advantage. So by all means, look through here, should you wish to. On-chain metric analysis. This is really designed to be a pretty deep dive. Team intelligence and leadership. This is really where I want to focus you. And we'll get to ratings here. But you can see that having a transparent team, this is a big plus in a crypto project. We like to know who's behind it and what is their pedigree. So we'll get down there. We will get down to it. So here's the fundamental value drivers, and it tells you about the stuff there. Technology stack claimed, economic model. There's been queries about that, but let's get to the comprehensive scoring matrix. Here we go. So USP is 60, which isn't great because it's up against Render and Akash, which are doing the same thing. Market demand and niche. Yes, there is a big demand for this niche. Competitive position, not great. Tokenomics quality, okay, sort of average. Trading volume health, well, that is very healthy. Social media sentiment, not so great. Current profitability and revenue, no disclosed revenue or customers. Now, this is something that we need to take very seriously indeed. No transparency and no apparent customers. Lots of companies that they're all associated with, but where's the revenue? Show me the money. This is a show me the money moment. Team quality, it's only giving it 40%, even though they are doxed. So this is a very, I would say, slightly below average score. I usually get between about 55 and 60 on the average project I put through here on this assessment matrix. So, and again, this is AI, so we're not going to take it all at face value, but it's a good indication because I put all projects through it just to see where they fall. So this is pretty good, these things here, but it's really hammering it on team credentials, even though they do seem too good to be true. If true, elite; if false, worthless. So we don't know. If the claims about the team are true, then it's brilliant, but we're not 100% sure and it can't be verified. So the revenue multiple, terrible. Where's the money? Now, I want to balance this because with AI data centers, you have to build first and then get profit later. So I'm going to give them a little bit of flexibility here because with things like this, building infrastructure projects, they do take time to build up. So even though this is a horrible rating, I'd say take that with a little pinch of salt because they have to build what they're doing before it's going to be generating any serious money. But the overall undervaluation score is 54. which is roundabout sort of average, slightly below average. So the validation score, 30 out of 100. It's being really tough on it, but I think we need to be tough on projects because there's a lot of really good projects out there. So if there is any red flags, you may want to look for other projects. So let's look at confidence levels. Now that is a very mixed bag. In fact, that's a very underwhelming score there. But again, this is an AI assessment tool, and this is a work in progress. I'm tweaking this all the time, my friends. So I certainly wouldn't be reading too much into this, but it is a good overall indicator because I do put all projects through it just to see how they come out. And it does seem to separate the wheat from the chaff at the moment. At the moment. So bull case could go to 15 cents to 30 cents. Possibly. Now, it's been there before, and the tokenomics are more favorable. So there's no reason why, with the volume that's coming in, that this couldn't do an easy 10x. But again, is there better projects out there? Well, we need to look into that as well. You need to work out whether this warrants the risk. Conviction level, very low. Strategic recommendations, unverified claims, red flag patterns, no proof of concept. Now, this is being very tough on it, but I think we do need to be tough on different projects as we go through them. So here you go. This is what this prompt does. And you see how detailed it is, how much information is there. Let's go straight through to the conclusion. So Solidus AI Tech presents an AI infrastructure project with physical assets and ambitious goals entering the market at the perfect time with AI compute demand exploding. However, the project suffers from critical transparency failures that create substantial fraud exaggeration risk. So there you go, my friend. So if everything is legitimate, if all the claims are true, the data center's operational, the team is real, and the customers exist, then AI tech could represent asymmetric upside. It's valued at only 50 to 60 million compared with renders 2 to 3 billion. A 10 to 30x return would be possible with successful execution. Now it's saying most likely reality. Based on pattern recognition from hundreds of crypto projects, AI tech most likely fits in the partially legitimate but overhyped category. Some infrastructure exists, but nowhere near the level of sophistication and success implied by marketing. The token will likely drift lower as speculative interest wanes and operational proof never materializes. So this is telling you to avoid with a 3 out of 10. And as a final thing, we look on DApp Radar, and it does verify that the volume is very high. Now, this is virtually the same as the market cap. So somebody's definitely doing something. There's either some really serious interest or some massive manipulation going on with Solidus at the moment. And here, just as a final one with DEX tools, the liquidity here, 65 million, that's higher than the market cap. So something mad is going on here that I can't quite work out. On the surface, this project looks brilliant. Loads of people are looking at it. There's loads of volume going in. But for all of this volume and stuff that's happening and 500,000 people on social media, how is it possible that it's so price suppressed when the main vesting schedule has gotten out of the way? And there is something gnawing away at me that's telling me that maybe that there's something that I'm not seeing at the moment. Maybe you know, maybe you can contribute to this project. Leave a comment. Tell me, what am I missing? What am I missing here? Because this on the surface looks too good to be true, but yet there are red flags waving in different directions that I can't quite put my finger on right now. Based on here. But this really is an educational resource to get you to start thinking for yourself so that when people start hyping these projects, you can actually go on and you can start taking a look through your own critical lens. Because if you don't learn to do that, you'll get rinsed in crypto. And that's really what this channel is about, to educate you how to start thinking for yourself and to look beyond the hype. Because there's a lot of hype here in Solidus, but something's not sitting right with me for whatever reason. Do I think you'll make money from this point? Well, I would say on a risk reward perspective, quite possibly. You could quite possibly do a 10x from here. I mean, it's been 10x before. It's shown that it's been up to that level. And that was when there was heavy vesting to come in. There's big volume going on. So who knows? Let me know what you think. That's just my opinion for what it's worth. And I'm not invested in Solidus and I've no skin in this game. So that's just my opinion from a random lunatic on the internet. And my friend, if you're still watching, especially if you're still watching and you've enjoyed this content, then please do like and subscribe and do a little channel a big favor. And if you want more of my content, you'll find it just there. But either way, my friends, stay lunatic, have fun, and make money with crypto.